A lot of people ask me, how do we get a lead into that first call? How do we take someone who submits a lead to make sure they show up for a call? This is a great question. And in fact, this is a video that's an idea from a commenter. Thank you for commenting on how to get a lead into a discovery call. I'm going to give you 3 ways you can do it so you can make sure more of your leads actually show up for your calls. Let's get it. Hey, I'm Matt Wolach, and I help software leaders understand how to generate a whole ton of leads, close those leads, and scale your team. If you want those things, hit the subscribe button right now and the little bell. That way you'll be notified about all my tactics and methods for closing deals, getting a lot of revenue. So let's do that, and I'll see you on all these upcoming videos I've got for you. And today, we have an awesome question that came in. A commenter, one of you said, how do we get a lead into a call? Because that's a very frustrating process sometimes. Sometimes people say, hey, I'm interested, but then they never book a call or they never show up for the calls. We want to make sure that we're really good at that. And actually the question is super smart because guess what? Most software companies don't even think about this part of the process. Most software companies, most software leaders think, hey, if a lead came in, they're going to book, right? They're definitely going to book a call that they submitted a lead. Well, here's the problem. Most of them actually don't. It's about 45%. That's the number. That's the ratio of the people who do an inbound lead. If they submit an inbound lead, only 45% actually ever show up to a call. That's crazy, right? You would think if they submitted a lead, they'd be there, but wrong. Sometimes people are bouncing around. They're emotional about something. They send in a lead, but then some time passes, another fire comes up and somebody emails them about that. And all of a sudden, they don't care about that thing anymore. So we've got to make sure to get more of our opportunities in. What does more look like? Well, the 45%, that's mostly companies who don't track this number. Lead to first call. That's the rate we're looking at. It's called lead to first call, lead to demo rate, whatever you want to call it. We need to make sure that's really strong. And 45% is not strong. More than half of the people who said I'm interested will not show up. Not good. So once we start tracking it, a funny thing happens. And that's kind of the crazy thing about metrics. When you start tracking your metrics, you start seeing results from that. Just from the tracking process, you start figuring out how can we get better? How can we improve? Even if you don't have the right process yet, you start focusing on it and the team starts focusing on it and that number starts to go up. It's kind of wild. By the way, if you want to know which metrics to track, check out this video here where I break down all of the best metrics in software that you should be tracking so you can make sure you're tracking those. I also give you exactly what the numbers should be so you know if you're at a good benchmark or not. So check that out. So today we're talking about lead to demo and 45% is low. But what happens once we start tracking it? If we start tracking that rate, it goes to 60%. We convert 60% of our leads into a demo. Now that's good. It's at least better than 45%. So 60% means 3 out of 5 of the people who submitted a lead are going to show up to a demo. That's good. And remember, lead to demo rate is the people who show up, not the people who just book a demo. Sometimes they book but don't show up. That's a whole other issue. So 60% is good, but can we get better? The answer is yes. If you put the right process in place, you can get even better. In fact, many companies operating a lead to demo process are at about 80%. And in fact, world-class operations of this process go to 90% plus. And in fact, one of my companies, the person who was operating this, she was dedicated to it. She was at 92.6%. on her conversion from lead to demo. That's insane. Think about that. If some company's at 45% and another company is at 92, they're getting more than double the amount of leads into a demo. If you can fix your process at the top of the funnel and you get more than double the amount of leads, guess what's going to happen? All the way down. You're gonna get more than double the number of customers too. So lead to demo, what do we need to do to make sure we go from that 45% to the 80%? Well, first things first, there's a concept called speed to lead. Speed to lead means you need to get to a lead really fast. And this is something that a lot of companies really fail on. In fact, many companies say, oh, we'll respond to all our leads within 24 hours. If that is your policy, toss that policy in the trash right now. Because if you're responding 24 hours later, first of all, your team doesn't have a mental focus that we've got to jump on leads. Your whole team should say, man, a lead came in, we're on it as soon as possible. They need to feel that speed to lead urgency. And it's important because if they don't feel that urgency, then they're going to do other things. And meanwhile, that lead is sitting there and that lead is submitting other leads to your competitors. And if those competitors call them, not good. In fact, studies show that 71%, that's the number of deals won by the person who called them first, who responded first. So if a bunch of leads are sent out, 71% of the time, the first one is the one that wins the deal. So do you want to be first? Yes. So some companies say, okay, 24 is too long. We're going to respond within 2 hours or 1 hour. Okay, that's better, but still not good enough. And in fact, going from 1 hour to just 10 minutes is an increase of about 400% in communication. Meaning you can connect with them 400% of the time, 4 times as many times. That's really, really good. And in fact, you go from 10 minutes to 5 minutes, it's another jump in connection rate and capability. And I can tell you, there's been so many times where somebody submitted a lead, I got the lead, I called them right away, and they're like, holy cow, I just barely pressed submit. You guys are amazing. They love it. Buyers can't believe how fast it is. So you have to be quick. You got to be on this speed to lead. Now, how can you do that? What if you have other calls? What if you have other demos and you're doing all these things and you're in meetings? Well, the way to do it is first you need to assign someone. Somebody on your team has to be responsible for this, meaning it's their top priority. As soon as something comes in, boom, they drop everything else, take care of that, and contact that lead. And by the way, by contact, we need to call them. Please don't email them. Thanks for sending that in. No, call them, assuming you have phone numbers. Call them, get connected with them, and you'll be able to connect with them so many more times. By the way, when I tell this to my clients, they are blown away. They can't believe how much faster they're getting to their clients than not. It's wild. In fact, one of my clients, Josh, he went from a 44%, they were lower than average, to a 91% by assigning someone and making sure it was their priority to jump on every lead as soon as possible. It's crazy, crazy how good that is. By the way, would you want to double your leads like that? Yeah, of course you would. You would have double the number of demos your team is doing? Of course you would. More at-bats, more capabilities to close. It's fantastic. And then the second thing you need to do is make sure that person does not stop. Make sure they do not quit and they do not give up. They have to continually contact that person because they might not get them right away. So then you send an email. Then you do a call the next day and you email them and you go back and forth, calls, emails, maybe some LinkedIn messages. And you don't stop until you can get that person booked. If they had the desire at one point, they're gonna have the desire again. Let's get them in. The companies that do this well, 8, 9 out of 10 are actually showing up to a demo. So big lessons here, speed to lead, get to them fast, assign someone to do it, call first, and then start a cadence of emails and calls. If you can do these things, then your number of demos will go up purely from the amount of leads you're getting. All right, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much. By the way, if this was helpful, hit like for me. That'll really help me get the word out to more people. And it shows me that these are the types of things you like seeing. And as well, if you have any more comments, this was a video that came from a question from a commenter. So if you have ideas for videos or questions about your process, submit that down with the comments below, and then I'll be able to see those and create a video for you. Thanks so much. I will see you next time. Take care.